Hey, on this episode, I talk about some great sourcing opportunities that I have found to get me through those long winter months without yard sales and garage sales. Cory goes over some great finds that he found in his storage unit haul. We have a huge announcement that's going to be great for the whole reselling community. And we talk about a topic that affects pretty much every reseller from time to time in their business.
Yep. Reseller Clickbait Podcast, episode 74. Welcome, everybody. I'm Cory, Grams and Pops Vintage, and I'm here with Ken, SSKPromo, and we're just going to jump right into it.
And I started on, hey, Cory, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
Are you well rested? Got the time change today. Feel that I got an extra hour of sleep last night.
I felt like I lost an hour. I woke up and I knew I was already late.
You know, this is the fallback one, right?
I know.
Okay.
I just thought I was late. I wasn't actually late.
Yeah, you were here on time. Man, we're still, hey, if you notice there on the screen, last week's episode, now just something felt a little off the whole time. Well, we were just a little off anyway, because we were still reeling from the previous week. But now I'm back on the right side. Last week we started a recording and it's like something just doesn't feel right the whole time. And it's because I was on the left side. I'm a right side. Well, I'm a right side guy. That's not like
back on your side of the bed.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, that's but yeah, last week was a busy week. We were still reeling from the holiday live tour, the Halloween edition, which was fun, which brings me around to the next episode of that, the holiday live tour. I'm going to throw that up right there on the screen.
Oh, geez. You still got my picture on there, my grumpy picture.
I haven't changed that out yet. The Grumpy Cory Holiday Live Tour logo right there. But we've got the Thanksgiving show. Man, that's coming up right away. These holidays just go boom, boom, boom. And so if you enjoyed the Halloween show, check out the Thanksgiving show, which tentatively right now is scheduled for Thursday, November the 16th.
Yep.
At 7 normal time. 7 normal time, 8 Eastern time. I was hearing I was listening to a radio program the other day, and they were talking about the time change and all the different time zones and how, pretty much the world runs on Eastern time and Pacific time.
They weren't talking about that. Were they really?
They were, because the one guy had taken
this was an Eastern radio station, wasn't it?
It was. They're based out of like New York or something, and they were. The one guy had spent some time during the weekend Central time zone, and he said he was just so messed up just being that hour off, and then
not everybody's got what it takes to live Central Time, Ken. Not everybody's got what it takes.
Well, I don't. I like being on the Eastern time zone. But 8 o'clock Eastern time, Thursday, November 16th, we got some good guests that will be on the show. We are finalizing that. We're finalizing the show and topics and fun and games and prizes, and so that should be
all about food. So my favorite topic. It should be a good one.
Yes, this Cory will excel at the Thanksgiving holiday live tour show, and so that's cool because I like to interact. It's fun to interact with the chat. We do this pre-recorded, and it's fun just to chat with Cory. But Cory gets a little bit. Boring to just when it's only him. So I love interacting with the chat. I love interacting with guests, getting to meet new people in the chat.
It's like a big live interview for my job in the chat there, guys. So
it is.
Be active. you could be here.
So yeah, exactly. We need to put the third box up down there and say,
this could be you.
Yeah, or just put an arrow. Wait, pointing that way.
Just put a for rent sign in the corner of my box here.
So yeah, that's just always a fun time doing live and meeting with hooking up with the chat and just being able to interact and have fun with them. So that's
that
coming up.
last live, the Halloween live, was my first one, and that was my favorite part, is the chat. So, matter of fact,
Yes.
it's really hard to stay engaged and talk with Ken when there's so many other cooler people in the chat to talk with.
Oh yeah, there's everybody in the chat's cooler than me, Corey. Now the DOG would everybody's just coming, those delusions of grandeur that I have. But yeah, it's just fun. It's fun to interact with the chat. I do my live show on Thursdays, Ken versus 10. There's a shameless plug right there. Ken versus 10 show, Thursdays, 11 a.m. Eastern time. And so...
Yeah, that show doesn't even happen in Central Time, so...
it's not shown in that time zone.
It's an Eastern-only show.
You have to get up pretty early in the morning if you're in that Pacific time zone to catch me. But most people are getting up and working right then. But it's focused on my listing and interacting with the chat. Just seeing, what folks are up to and interacting with stuff. So I always like to meet new people and just have that good time.
It's always fun to see who's going to pop in the chat.
Exactly. Speaking of that, you're organizing or part organizing. Speaking of meeting people, you're organizing an event.
I see what you did there.
Right?
That was clever. Yes.
That wasn't it?
Yes. We do have an event coming up. If you'd like to meet more people, more resellers in specific, we are doing an event. I'm sure everybody's heard of the other big events, FlipCon and Reseller Rally and the Boss Reseller Remix. We're actually hosting one here in the Midwest in Central Time, normal time zone, called Planes to Profit.
For all the Midwesterners. Okay, wait, Planes to Profit. Now this is who's organizing the event?
This is Grams and Pops, me and Grams, and Alicia Inked Picker and her husband Connor have kind of taken on the challenge of organizing one of these events. And it sounds fairly easy to do, but it's actually been a lot. I mean, there's been a lot going on for the last month or two to get it put together. I think we're there. I think we're there, and it's actually we kind of took all the events we went to and all the good and all the bad, and we just combined the best of the best and put it into one. Yeah. And we're gonna give it a shot. See if we can turn one of these events into something fun to do. So February 23rd and 24th of this coming year. So it's like 110 days. Yep.
Okay.
So it's coming.
It's 110
quick.
Days long. That's, I don't know,
days
Corey.
Away.
A lot of people. Oh, away. I was going to say, man, that's a heck of an event. Most people can't get away for the weekend, and you were going to have 110
don't work
days.
Enough, do they? They don't. They're not working anyway.
I think that was part of your plan. We were talking a little bit about this in the background, and a lot of the events are in the summer months or in the spring and fall when it's yard sale season, garage sale season.
It's busy time.
And that's, when you live in areas that actually get winter, your sourcing time, your yard sale season, garage sale season, which is where a lot of us do the main part of our sourcing during those months, you only get maybe 3 months, 90 days, maybe 4 months, in there to source. And sometimes those weekends are valuable, and you can't take that time off. Or if you take an event that's like Boss or FlipCon or something that's so real big, and those are like weekdays, and you got work to do.
Matter of fact, the reseller rally this year we went to, we missed a very large community sale in the area, one of the biggest ones in the area, to go to the event. So it's kind of the catch-22 of going to those events that are during your prime sourcing time, and this one is the reason we had it at this time of years, because in the Midwest at least, that's dead time. I mean, it's after the fourth quarter. It's midway through the first quarter. It's just kind of your lull time where you're waiting for spring to break.
Yeah, so I think that's a good time. So you're calling it Planes to Profit because you're kind of out there in the plains states, I assume, or it's not like plain like this is just a plain old event.
It's just nothing special. It's just plain.
Yeah, it's just
just bland.
Just come if you want, don't. But well, it sounds exciting, and we've been talking. So you have a website for this, right? Where we'll link that down below.
Yep. It's planestoprofit.com, and it should be anything but plane. I mean, we've got everything, including a party bus. So check it out, and hopefully we'll see some of you guys there.
Yes, that will be cool. I'll be interested to hear more details. So go check out planestoprofit.com. You can get tickets, check out what's going on with that. And man, that's exciting. That is an exciting event. Hopefully, you'll get that Midwestern crowd or some of those people that don't get to go to other events, because it is on a weekend.
Yep, and we've already had some ticket sales. We put the tickets on sale. I think it was Friday. We put tickets on sale, and we've already got some people who have bought tickets and committed to coming. And I'm excited about the people who already have. I mean, there's going to be some fun people there that we're excited about seeing, and it gives us a chance to kind of recharge our batteries coming into the middle of the end of first quarter. There, it's kind of the blah months. So it gives you a chance to kind of kick the gears going again and get the rust off.
Exactly. Get whooped up and excited, and get again the events when you're hanging out with like-minded people and doing fun stuff, and so go over there and check out all of those events that the Planes to Profit has to offer, and that should be cool. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how it goes. Maybe excited to attend. We shall see. We're working that out. Maybe a
third headshot.
Oh yes, I've already thought about that. What that headshot might look like. But it's been a busy week this week for sure. Had something cool come up. I talked about it, I think, last week on the show or whatever. We had a new Goodwill bins open right here in my town, like 6 minutes away, 5 minutes. If I don't catch a traffic light or exceed the speed limit, or if I do exceed the speed limit, I'll get there. But it was pretty cool. They had their grand opening was the 1st. I think it was last Tuesday, November the 1st, whatever day that was. No, Thursday.
Unimportant.
It's unimportant, really. But it was interesting. It was an interesting situation to go to. I'd only been to one other bins before, and that was when we were out in Las Vegas at one of the meetups out there.
How did you like it? Do you think that's going to be a bigger part of your winter sourcing now?
I think it will be. So far, I went a couple of days. I went the Thursday, and then I went Friday. I was busy all day yesterday. Talk about that a little bit later. But it was interesting. First one, there wasn't as big a crowd as I thought there would have been for the grand opening or the first day. I would imagine this weekend, more people learning that it was open and coming, from different areas. People were busy during the week. So I would imagine yesterday, they're open 7 days a week. And so I don't know if other bins usually close on Sundays or whatever, but they're supposed to be open 7 days a week. And it was the bins, everything was $1.89 a pound. They do at the bins, they do everything by the pound. Now they did have some special items set up over in the corner, bigger furniture pieces and lawn equipment and stuff like that. That was a set price. And they had books that were like 59 cents a pound.
Ugh,
so it was, I guess I did see a whole bin of books. But the one thing I was excited about was there was very little, there was like maybe 6 rows of bins with 6 bins in each row. I think I'm counting that right, 6 or 7. So they're 30 to 40, 35, 40 bins, something like that. And only the first 2 rows were like clothing, because a lot of people were saying, oh, do you like clothing and shoes? That's, what your bins are about. But of all the rows, there were only 2 rows that were primarily clothing or ones that had bedding and stuff like that in them. But the rest of it was all hard goods. You know, a lot
So
of
what kind of hard goods are you seeing in there? I mean, is it like smashed up coffee pots and Keurigs with half the pieces missing, or?
Sure. Yeah, there was a lot of that. There was but a lot of toys, things that I picked up. I grabbed some toys. I did grab a few electronic devices that I saw, maybe little handheld games, little action figures, things like that. You know, and you gotta dig, and they change out the bins every half an hour. So when on the grand opening day, the first day everybody showed up, and so everybody just kind of spread out. You know, they were hitting all the bins because that was the first thing. But as that kind of day progressed a little bit, then they would change out the bins. You would get everybody, like they pull out a whole row, and they started like at row 1, 2, 3, 4. They just keep going down and replacing those. So whenever a new row was coming out, everybody was lined up along the sides of that row, and they would say, okay, shop. You weren't allowed to do anything or touch anything until they had the bins in place and locked in and the employees were out of the way. And then they'd say shop. And then it was kind of a frenzy, a free-for-all. And I'm just always surprised at the way people that's why there's broken Keurigs and pieces, parts missing.
Chucking stuff.
People just are throwing stuff, all over the place. And
I think I would enjoy. I think I could enjoy the bins as long as it was that those early days before it just becomes packed. I mean, if you're basically giving the guy behind you a piggyback ride because everybody's just pressed on everybody else and pushing your way through to grab a pair of kids' sneakers or something, it's just, I don't think I could do that. But I think if it was like halfway, even crowded but not that busy, I think the bins could be a pretty cool place to source.
And I guess, now that I think of the time frame, the grand opening was on Wednesday, and that didn't really make much of a difference to the story, except for, now I remember, the second day that I went was on Thursday, because I went after my show. So I didn't get to go over there till almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And at that point in time, there was hardly anybody there. And so at the point when they brought out new bins, like the first time they brought, and here's what happens to me. Okay, I shop. And finally I decide I'm done and I'm going to go check out. And just about the time I check out and get my stuff paid for, it's time for them to bring out a new set of bins. It's like, so that happened. And I actually took my pop over with me. We went that second day so he could get to see what I was talking about and shop and look around. And he found a few things that was pretty cool. Things that he's not a reseller, obviously. So he was able to find things that he wanted.
Just for use at the house?
Yeah. Some vinyl record albums and some, I don't even know what all he bought, but it was an interesting experience for him to see, what was going on. And it was nice that the crowd was pretty low at that time. So I check out all of my stuff, and then they're like, okay, we're going to change out these bins. And so they bring a whole new row in of like in the hard goods part. And literally, okay, so in that row, there's like 6 bins. I was the only person looking through.
That'd be hard to leave.
Those bins. And so I had the whole row of all new stuff that they just brought out all to myself.
Trying to stop for lunch at community yard sales when you're out and about at the yard sales and you got like 80 yard sales to hit.
Yeah.
And you want to stop for lunch, but you're like, man, I don't want to stop for lunch.
Yeah, exactly. So I got to look through all of those bins with no competition at all.
Well, did you find anything good?
No, not the second time around. I didn't. And we were ready to go. My dad was ready to take off and go home. And so I just kind of did the surface of everything, maybe dig down a little bit. And but they were packed up. Those bins were packed with stuff. And I talked to one of the employees there the day before about what they do with the stuff after once those bins are pulled out and leave the floor, it goes to their back room and it's all sorted for things that they can recycle. And that goes into the different recycling bins. And then
dumpster.
just dumpster, I guess. From there, it's just disposed of. It's already, there's a number of items that you see that have Goodwill stickers on them that they were, probably items in the stores.
Because I think tried to sell them several ways.
Yeah, they govern like 9 locations around our region. And so they probably bring a lot of stuff. But I found some decent stuff each day. I got items that are nothing stellar, nothing exciting, but profit. I brought home profit each day, and that's getting them listed now. I did try to...
Which is even harder when they're not exciting items. When they're bread and butter items, it's even harder to push yourself to list them.
And it's such a hodgepodge of items that, I like to list things. A lot of times I like to group up things that are listing in either in the same category or similar types of items. And it when they're all so diverse and so different, but I think I am going to make that a focus of mine, that when I bring home a bag or IKEA bag or 2 or how many ever I get that day, that I'm going to try to list. Those are going to be the next newest items that I list. If I need to clean, if I need to test, those are going to go into my new testing area, and then everything else is getting listed right away. And so I can keep up on that, not build that death pile. And while they're still fresh in my mind, because most of the time I've just comped them while I'm at the store. I filled up my cart the first day. I filled it all up, and then I kind of pushed it over to the side, and I went through and I sorted what might be good and what might not be. And, put some stuff back. I find it harder
and harder to list things that are unexciting, or things that are, it's just onesie twosie where you can't really get on a roll. Like if you give me a whole tote of action figures, you kind of have your listing process set up. That makes it tough. Like you were talking about books there earlier, and they had all their books kind of separated. Part of that storage unit that we bought was like 3 big boxes of books.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been sorting through those and trying to group them up into bundles we could sell as book bundles, and scanning them all to see if there's anything that sticks out. And man, that's
right. You picked up that.
I just want to run away.
Those huge 2 storage lots, and now you're starting to get through all of that. I know you had sent me some pictures of some really cool items that you found in there, and that's going to be profitable in the end if all of those sell.
We've found some interesting stuff in there. We're only about 1/10 of the way through it. I mean, we got through the back corner of one of the corners, and part of it was those books. I know Teresa found like a giant box. It looks like a wardrobe box. It's a really tall box. And it said all clad on it. We open it up, and it's full of all clad pans, which I'd never heard of.
Okay.
But they're all still in their boxes. They all still have their paperwork, and they're all clad pans, which apparently is a good thing. Each pan was worth like between $150 and $250.
Oh, wow. So in that one box, you're making most all of your profit back, or most all of your expense back on the bins.
We'll pay for the storage units and the U-Haul and the gas and everything just with that one box of pans.
Yes.
But in return for having that and getting to process that, we also have to go through those books, which is painful. I think that's the yin to our yang on that. We got to go through crap like those books.
Yeah. So, but that's a good wintertime activity, though. I mean, unless you're trying to kind of go through.
We took all the books out because they were in the corner, and we're kind of working our way into the building.
Okay.
So now all the books are on our listing station and our photo station. Like they're piled. We have to deal with them now.
Okay.
So that's our first project now.
So when you brought all that stuff in, have you just kind of, or is that your process? Let's talk about that. Is that your process just to, okay, let's walk into, here's where all of the inventory is, and just bump, just work through it? Or did you kind of give that overview and pick, cherry pick the good things that you could see on top before you started to go through all of the boxes and tubs?
Usually, when we're garage sailing, we're taking in a little bit of stuff at a time, a trunk full of stuff at a time.
Yeah.
It's really easy to cherry pick and put the boring stuff in a pile.
Yeah.
And then you then you're stuck with that pile, and it's like, ugh, and you don't want to do it, and it's just, you feel burned out on it. You just want to leave it. But with a storage unit, we intentionally didn't do that, and we don't really have that luxury because we had to just get it out of there so fast.
Yeah.
So now it's just, we buried an entire building. So we have to work our way through the building. And so it's more necessity than intentional.
You know, that's interesting the way that you had put that, and we probably all do that. You said when you go to the yard sales and garage sales, and you come back and you have all of the boring stuff that kind of just easy to put to the side, and that's interesting because it's hard to pass up potential profit at the yard sales and stuff. And then when you come back and you're not excited about the item, you're not passionate, and it just gets put in the corner or just added to the death pile. It's like, well, that's one of the things that I think next year, when I'm getting back into the yard sale season, is looking for those things more that are exciting. Of course, we all want to find the home runs, and our businesses are built a lot on the bread and butter, the everyday things that you can buy they're not the big exciting home runs every single time. But that's, if you're not passionate about that stuff that you're finding. But I do the same thing, just my trip to the bins there was a lot of stuff it's just, oh, this has potential value to it. This has a good sell-through rate. This has whatever. So I'm going to pick it up. But there are items that, like this yarn winder thing that I found that makes like yarn balls. And I don't know anything about it, but I thought, oh, this looks like an interesting tool. Let's pick this up. Oh, and then I had to go through the bins. Like, I don't know. They just throw all this stuff in there. And you
on some of that stuff, I find the easiest stuff to list is the stuff that I want to get home and get on the bench so I could take a picture of it because I'm excited about it and I want to share it with somebody. Like I'll go share it in our Discord group or share it with somebody around here that I talk to on a regular basis. Yeah. Something that I want to get home and take a picture of to share it with somebody else, I find really easy just to keep taking the pictures and list it. Yeah. And if it's not exciting at all and it's just kind of boring, I know money, it's money, so it shouldn't be boring.
Yeah, but shouldn't be boring. Yes,
man, it's hard sometimes to motivate yourself to do that.
That's one of the things too. I guess I'll bring up. Most of the folks that listen to this are resellers and probably know this, but doing your sold comps while you're looking at items is always a good idea, unless you know what it is, or sometimes you just pick up something like this yarn winder thing that I thought, well, that looks interesting. Let me see what that's about. And it's probably in the end $50, $60 item. Well, it was cool to do the sold comps on it because I was able to see that what I was holding and I keep doing this. If you're not watching, if you're only listening, I keep doing hand motions of winding thing because it has these little arms and this gears and it spins around and winds up thread or yarn or whatever. But I noticed from looking at the pictures that what I was holding in my hand was missing a piece to it. Okay. So even though it was a good sell-through rate and it was a good, profitable item, not anything super high dollar, I was able to see, okay, this is missing a piece. Are there any listed without this piece? Are there any? And then that made me go on the search. I put that item in my cart, and while I was digging through the bins, and it was actually in a different bin than
you found
the original piece. I found the other piece. Nice. It's like a third arm that helps wind the stuff. So I was able to find that other piece, and I would not have known that if I didn't do a little bit of research right there while I was, looking through the bins. But that was, an item that I thought, this is interesting. Do a quick search, put it in the cart. And then when I did my little bit deeper search over to the side while I was waiting for them to bring out a new row or something like that.
That whole missing piece thing is a good point too. When I'm trying to list out of the pile, that's probably one of the number one things that makes me put an item back is to pick an item up and realize it's missing a piece, or it has some damage I'm going to have to disclose, or probably worse than any of them. This needs cleaned. Like it's
Yes.
filthy and it needs clean. Any of those just makes me put it back for some reason. Like it's so hard to empty your brain space and get out of listing mode and into cleaning mode or
Yes.
fixing mode that it really derails the process.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a lot of the things as I've been trying to work. Okay. Because I've been super unmotivated recently. I've really had a difficult time. I just kind of been in a funk, if you will, about listing and being consistent with my business. I've had a lot of distractions as of late, and
Grams and I have a diagnosis for that. There's a name for that.
Okay, I need to know this.
Okay, we call this a terminal case of the I don't wannas.
Yes.
And it's terminal because if you don't get out of it, you're going to go broke and it'll kill you. So. I think I have the beginning stages of I don't wannas. Is that what you said? I don't wannas? I don't wannas.
I have the I don't wannas or some sort of a form of that. It's just been it's been difficult. I guess, I'm sure all resellers, maybe we'll talk about that. It's kind of like a reseller topic here on the show. Because I'm sure that a lot of folks get into that from time to time, either situations outside of, life happens, family issues, whatever it might be. But you kind of get out of that normal routine.
Yeah. And a lot of it happens about this time of year, I think.
Yeah.
When the sourcing starts slowing down and you have to switch gears and do the more boring part of the job.
Yeah, agreed. And because I don't really, I can't explain it. I have the I don't want us or whatever in this unmotivated situation. And I can't really put my finger on it. I don't know. There's nothing like major going on. There's no anything like that. I can't seem to get consistent with my listing.
The most frustrating part of that is when you're in that state, you kind of want to, like you get up in the morning, you're like, man, I want to take on this project. And then you go out there and as soon as you put your hands on it, you're like, I don't want to.
Yes, I did. That's exactly it. And I'm trying to work through that, and I'm trying to put my finger on what's going on. So I'm in a process of eliminating distractions. I play this silly game on my phone, and sometimes I find myself. Is that why you're
not answering texts?
That's it. Yes, it's like they'll put Cory on mute and play this silly game. And usually it was a game that I started out where it was a toilet game. You're going to sit in there, going to be in there a few minutes. Let's just play a couple of rounds of this game. Or when I go to bed at night, I kind of use it to just relax and get there. Well, now I find myself, more and more playing this game during the day when I should be out listing, I should be out cleaning, I should be out doing something. And but that's an excuse. That the game is an excuse. YouTube content, YouTube drama, things of that nature is just
any content. That's it took me 8 hours yesterday to edit a 20-minute video because I kept getting distracted and I started watching that dang Netflix show Norseman. Have you seen that?
Oh, I have not. Norseman?
Kind of like the barbarian version of The Office. It's a weird show. It's not that interesting. But I started watching that and I would find myself like stopping in the middle of editing a video. I'd edit like 5 minutes and then I'd watch like 3 episodes of this stupid show.
Yeah.
And it's just so distracting. It took 8 hours to get through that edit yesterday. And it should have taken me 3 hours at best. So those distractions are crazy.
And so, I'm trying to go through and really look at content because I've never been able to master the art of watching content or having content on and still being productive in my job. And I don't I just sit and watch the video. Even sometimes if it's a live or you know, a podcast that I'm listening to, I still just want to look at the screen and stare at the screen.
Teresa gives me no end of grief. She says I have one of the simplest minds she's ever met, because I think she's made fun of me at one point and said that I would watch the lights on the radio if the radio was playing rather than do two things at once. So yeah, I get what you mean there.
And so I am trying to get refocused on what I'm doing. I've talked numerous times about this office project that I'm doing out in my garage. I actually last Thursday, I actually listed for the first time in my new office. It's not ready yet, and it's still in disarray, which kind of doesn't help the process. But I get to that. Well, I'm in the middle of getting a new office done, and my office here that I'm sitting in right now that I previously used is just a mess. But then again, that's just another excuse. I keep making excuses for, even I use being full-time as an excuse. It's like, well,
need to build in some rewards.
Well, I do. You would think that a cha-ching would be the motivation and the reward.
Does it still work? There you go. You get balloons for a reward.
Oh, yes. We found this. Okay, so I don't know. Any of you that use an Apple device, we found this thing the other day. We kept figuring out, why was this little bubble thing popping up on Cory's screen when we were talking? Well, apparently, if you have an Apple device, there are different
things you could do.
Look at this.
Confetti.
It's Cory. So if you're not watching, if you're just listening, you need to come over to the YouTube and check out Cory. See, if I do like double peace signs, I get nothing. But if Cory does it, do it again, Cory. Throw it up there.
Confetti over here.
You get confetti over there. Give the what else? A thumbs up. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Yep.
Thumbs up. Oh,
there we go.
There's a little bubble. Little bubble that pops up with thumbs up. There's
be sure to hit those thumbs up, folks.
That's right. Thumbs up, like. Is there a like? Is there a do you have a subscribe one? Oh yeah, there we go.
There we go.
double horns, heavy metal horns.
We don't have a subscribe one. This is crazy. We went through we probably went through 7 or 8 recordings together in the back end of this StreamYard. And saw these things pop up several times, and it took us that many tries to figure out what was happening.
And it used to be we would just get that little bubble. Well, Cory must have from time to time just gave a little thumbs up, and then wait, did you see that bubble? Because you just catch it. It's only on there for a few seconds, and so if you're on some sort of an Apple device and you're doing that, try that out. Go through. I think what was that thing called? The
Apple Reactions or something?
Reactions. Yes, that's right. Apple Reactions. Check out Apple Reactions, and it's something that
it was
you can
annoying
turn
at
off
first, but now I kind of love it.
Oh yeah, look at
Okay,
so those extra graphics were not done in editing. They were that's a process that Apple
we don't
Reactions,
even need a graphics department anymore. We just get cool things like this built in.
That's cool. That was fun, but we figured it out. It drove us nuts forever. But back to trying to get see, there you go. That's what happens. Just one little thing I see, all of a sudden it's like, oh, balloons. Ooh,
we could have listed.
Let's not do any work right now. But I did have a part of kind of getting back and getting motivated into stuff, and watching folks in the community last Tuesday on Kat the Nurse Flipper show. I was a guest with Kat and Rod Picking and Punching and Archie Biscuit Butt, who's always fun. I was a guest on that show, and I greatly appreciate those guys for asking me and having me on. It was a great show and had a real good time. But more so afterwards, after the show was over, just in the back room, I had like a 2-hour conversation with Rod Picking and Punching, who we had crossed paths in the community before, but I got to meet him at the reseller rally in Cincinnati.
Yeah,
got to meet him, face to face, and really hadn't he hadn't watched a lot of my content. I hadn't watched a lot of his, but we were familiar with one another just being in the community, and had a conversation with him in the background about this very topic, about being unmotivated or staying motivated, things that you can do to work on that. Sometimes the answer is just, you just got to go do the work. And we talked about
said than done most times, but yes, you're right.
Yeah. We talked about YouTube and stuff, and the focus of the struggle of trying to do YouTube with along with your reselling business, and what is the priority of those things. I don't put out a lot of pre-recorded content. I do the podcast here, and I also do my Ken versus 10, but those are 2 shows a week. But Rod is working well, and Cory, you have your channel, Grams and Pops Vintage, and you're putting out a couple videos a week, and you're recording and lots of editing and stuff.
The priority on that stuff often goes to the wrong, but I've never been good with keeping my priorities straight in the first place. But I tend to put my priorities where I'm having the most fun, and that's not a good thing when your livelihood depends on it. So
exactly.
Priorities are tough in this one because you are the master of your own schedule.
Exactly.
I mean, you do determine what you do and what you don't do.
I was saying that about, using excuses. I internally, I make up, even being full time as an excuse of, I don't have to get up early this morning and work. I can do that a little bit later in the day. And then the day happens and you don't get stuff done. And then you go, some days it feels like I work all day at my reselling business, and I still have nothing to show for it at the end of the day. It might be a big day where you did a lot of testing and cleaning, and you didn't get a chance to do photographs or listing or whatever. And it's like, oh, I'll get to that tomorrow. I have time. I don't have a schedule. And then you just don't get to it the next day. Yep. But talking with Rod and seeing that other people out there, because what you see in YouTube content is you see all the highlights. You see the good sales. You see the good finds. You see, there's different people have different content. But for the most part, especially in an Instagram format or a YouTube short or a TikTok or something like that, you're seeing that real condensed version of what people do every day. And nobody's making content out there of the struggles, the everyday. Now, people bring it up, but, every day, nobody's going to want to sit and watch, oh, hey, I didn't list anything
people
today.
People love to watch people fail. I'm sure
well, that's true, too. There's some of that stuff.
I wonder, like, if you're coming into this type of job out of, say you've had a normal 9-to-5 job for a long time.
Yeah.
Where you have that structure of the company and the bosses and the people above you to give you, if you go into work and you just crush it out and do an amazing day of work, you have that positive reinforcement coming from above.
Yes.
Whereas when you're working with yourself, your positive reinforcement is maybe you take your own butt out and have an ice cream that day, but there's no attaboy from anybody.
It's getting cold out there for ice cream.
It's never too cold for ice cream. That's chubby guy rule number 1. Ice cream is good year round.
Chubby guy rule number 1. Yeah, on Halloween it was snowing. It was snowing here, which was just like ridiculous.
This is my desk, buddy. This is full of what we have left for not ice cream. I wish it was all ice cream. It's all candy.
It's okay. So Cory is holding up a big bucket that says spooky time, and it's all full and it's right there on the floor by his desk.
It has a handle on it, so I can move it from this office to my in-town office when I have to go back and forth until it's gone. This is our leftover Halloween candy. And
so what did you say? You had like 6,000 pieces of candy or something, and that's all you got left?
I think we gave out a little over 2,000 pieces this year.
Wow!
So it was a big turnout.
That's cool.
By we I mean Teresa and my youngest. I didn't even go into town. I avoided them and stayed home.
Man, what a curmudgeon. What a Halloween curmudgeon.
But I got a video edited, so that was good.
That's true. See, you're being motivated, Cory. You're doing the work.
Even when there was something... the kids, and I was working for the people.
There you go. Whether they like it or not, you were working for them.
Yeah, that's right.
The one thing that I found funny, and I'll finish that up, my conversation with Rod, is, he was very, very motivational, very inspirational, and just you got to see that other people are, not that Rod is struggling, but that discussion with somebody else that, hey, this is a day-to-day grind, and maybe your sales are not where you want them to be. And, if I focus on a YouTube channel and not on my reselling, one of those is going to suffer. But what tickled me the most is, as we were talking, I kind of looked up at the screen because I'm having this serious, kind of a conversation with somebody in the community that I respect, that I've recently got to know.
With Rod the scoundrel.
Yes, yeah. But what was funny about that is, on Kat's show, it was on Halloween night. So we were in costumes and stuff like that. So I'm focused and really engaged with Rod. And at one point, I just kind of really looked at the screen and just had to chuckle because he was dressed like Where's Waldo? He had the red and white striped cap on, and he had the shirt and stuff on. And it's like, actually, if one were to look at that from the side, you're like, wait, you're going to take this guy serious? He's sitting there, Where's Waldo? And so that was fun. But I appreciated my conversation that I had with Rod, and it really got me to thinking. I am getting more motivated.
Should have left the record button going, because that would have been a good conversation, I think, for the community at large.
It really, really would have, to see that there are struggles with this business every day. It is sometimes hard to stay motivated, even when it is your full-time income. This is how I make a living. This is how I keep the lights on and pay my mortgage and have something to eat that day. And if you need that extra push, you can come to Planes to Profit, February 23rd, 24th, 2024. There you go.
See what I did there? All on my own.
Perfect segue. You can get your batteries recharged, get refreshed, meet with other like-minded people, have an opportunity to talk to folks, do some good party bus thrifting. I don't want to throw out
in all seriousness, though. That's the word, seriousness. Yeah, those
I like
get-togethers or just talking with other resellers. You don't have to go to a meetup, but those type of events and talking with other resellers is often a good way to kind of jumpstart yourself back into being motivated. There's nothing that makes you want to work harder than talking to someone that makes you feel lazy. I find that I don't like to feel lazy. Well, and when I talk to somebody killing it, I want to push harder.
Yes.
That's why Grams keeps me going, because she makes me feel lazy all the time.
I thought you meant because Grams is killing it.
She's always killing it.
She's getting you motivated. Yeah, Grams is she's a workhorse.
She doesn't have a slow down button.
Oh, speaking of workers, okay, Cory, we were talking earlier in the week. You have a big piece of property. You have a farm. And I know you made and I don't have a farm, but for some reason I bought a horse. And maybe we need to live closer, and I can put my horse on your property at your farm.
Well, that sounds oddly inappropriate.
What? Hey, Cory, can I keep my horse on your farm?
No, find a different stable, Ken.
No, I decided, even though I have been unmotivated and the cha-chings and the sales haven't been there, I decided to, I have some expendable income that I decided to, come off a little bit of my savings and and buy a horse. And I've got a picture of my horse right here that I bought this week.
Picture of your horse.
My horsey.
Oh, isn't that adorable?
Let me back
He's a very
this up.
flexible horse too.
He is. Look at that. He's like doing a cha-cha-cha or something like that. I got my horsey.
Lily.
Now, I just wanted to give a shout out. I bought this on a Whatnot auction. Paul Philly Flipper. If you're not following Paul, go do it. I'm sure that you probably already are. But Paul is starting new chapters in his life and still seems to be motivated. That guy just works and works and works, even with the new, situation and new fiance and new family. But he had a Whatnot auction. And 2 new little beautiful, beautiful girls that are going to be part of his family, Lily and Lydia. They had done some artwork that they sold on the Whatnot. Does that come with a
certificate of authenticity?
It does not, but I think I will request that. It's not numbered, but you see right there, Lily drew this horsey right here, and I was fortunate enough to be the high bidder on that. On the Whatnot auction. So I was super excited at it. So shout out to Paul and Lena and Lily and Lydia. They are good friends in the community and good friends of mine.
We did get some additions to our farm this week too.
We did
something extra special. We went tractor shopping.
Ooh. Yes.
Yeah, that's not something you get to do very often, but we
did get
to go tractor shopping.
I've never been tractor shopping. So
really?
You're one. I have not.
I would not have guessed that.
I figure I was tractor shopping all the time.
Well, we figured we have a tractor and it's a larger tractor and we have a giant snowblower for behind it, but it's an older, like a fairly old tractor. It has no cab on it.
Okay.
So when it's like 40 below zero and you got that big snowblower on the back, you pretty much eat as much snow as you move.
Oh, yeah.
So the wind's just blowing it all back in your face.
How big is this snowblower?
It's about 8 foot wide.
Oh.
It's a big one. It's like a double decker, like 2 big augers stacked on top of each other. So it's about 4 foot tall and 8 foot
something
wide.
You see on the highway crews.
Yeah.
The highway road crews or whatever. 8 foot wide. I do not want to live in a place where I need an 8 foot wide snowblower.
Oh, it's not even about need, Ken. It's about you have the ability. Like snow apocalypse. I can fire that thing up and we could go wherever we want.
That's okay. All right.
Now,
so you bought a new tractor.
Yep, we did. We finally broke down after 4 years and said I'm not moving snow with an open cab tractor one more time.
Okay.
So we bought a smaller tractor, just a 25 horse tractor with a cab and a snowblower on it. So
we should throw up a picture. Do you have a picture of it?
I do. So just that little cute guy.
That's cool. Oh, and it's got the full cab. I bet that has a heater in it. Does it have a heater and air conditioning and everything?
It does, and a radio and all the fun stuff.
So
no more eating snow and sitting out in the cold for 2-3 hours with that big snowblower, because we do have about 1/8 of a mile driveway. It's a long driveway and it's a lot to keep clear.
Yeah, no kidding.
Tractor shopping was a win.
Well, that's exciting. Now, okay, you should make one of these, because you do this full time too. You should make one of those videos. eBay bought me this tractor.
eBay's got quite a few payments to make yet. That's a lot of sports cards to sell.
It wasn't a gift that the eBay sent to you, but
no, eBay made one heck of a good down payment on the tractor. We'll say that. Yeah. eBay did very well for us. We wouldn't have afforded it without a good sized down payment, because they're not cheap, even the small ones like that.
Yes. And so I'm gonna throw that picture back up there. You've got this. It's got a scoop bucket on the front, and so you're gonna have a snow blower attachment.
Yep. There's a 54-inch snowblower attachment, and then there's a blade attachment that we got to pick up still. So,
okay, man, that's cool. That's exciting. That is something that's again in my area and what I do, and where I live, I would love to have a tractor like that. I don't know why.
It's
I
going to
just
move
got
a lot of chicken poop during the summer. So,
you and that.
well,
Here we are.
probably
back to
less chicken poop than it would have moved a month ago, because we came home from, where were we? We were in town for something, and we came home and we went into the shop, and we didn't even think to look around the place.
and it was
And
full
when we
of
came
chicken
out of the
poop.
shop, our house door was wide open,
Uh-oh.
and we have 2 dogs.
And the chickens that got in.
Yeah, they got out. They opened the front door to the house, and they went in the chicken coop, and they tore butt up in the chicken coop. So we have a few less chickens than we used to.
Your dog? Wait, who did this? The dogs?
Our dogs. Yeah, they got out of the house and they got into the chicken coop.
And they killed some chickens.
Yep. They chewed up quite a few of them. I know we found 3.5 that we know they killed. But the other half of the one, I don't know where they put it. They must have ate it. And then we've got a few that have some bite marks and feathers missing that I think we can nurse back. But yeah, they've been ornery. The dogs lately don't like something, because they're really acting like fools lately.
You can either nurse them back to health, or maybe have a nice fried chicken dinner, or some chicken noodle soup on a cold day that's coming up. And,
the winter time is not the time to be getting rid of your hens, because they already slow down laying enough as it is. We want those eggs. Here's another thing the dogs did. See these empty pots?
Yes.
Those all used to have plants in them.
Cory is showing a photo right now on YouTube side. Throw that back up there again, Cory. Okay, these are planters that have just dirt in them. And so what kind of plants were in them?
They were all different plants, but they weren't small. I mean, they were like 6-inch tall plants that we have around the house.
Ate those.
And over a course of chickens. Well, over a course of 3 days, we'd wake up in the morning and I'd come out to water the plants, and there'd be an empty pot still sitting where it was sitting. It's just the plant had been plucked out and was gone. So the dogs have been taking the plants right out of the pots. So,
man, I think
if anybody's looking for a dog, I'm in the market to resell a couple.
No kidding. They sound like they're not in your best interest on the farm if they're going to eat up all the...
They just needed some salad to go with the chicken. It hasn't been a good week for them.
That's funny. That's funny. But yeah, so big week. Big week for everyone. Cory bought a new tractor. I've been unmotivated. I'm going to get motivated. Tomorrow I decided... today I'm going to finish working in my garage some, and tomorrow I'm going to work. I'm motivated after talking with Cory and talking with Rod, and of course, Jill was always my biggest supporter, trying to keep me motivated, doing stuff and inspiring me, and so everybody that you don't always talk about situations like that, whether you're unmotivated or something along those lines, because you don't want to seem like, I don't want to say a failure, but you don't want to seem like you're not doing the job, or you're not putting in the effort.
Generally, when you're not doing that, it is because you're being, well, for me, I can't say you, but for me, when I'm in that state, it's because I'm being lazy. Mm-hmm. And it is a lack of motivation, but it boils down to, there's no reason I'm not doing the work other than I don't want to do the work. And yeah, that is something that you don't necessarily go tell people, hey, I'm lazy. I'm being really lazy today.
There is laziness to it for sure. There's, unmotivated. There's, maybe a little bit of burnout, although, I wouldn't blame it on burnout. And I guess a lot of the stuff, again, I use as an excuse. And so, I guess other resellers, if you have a situation where you're unmotivated, or if you just really need to kick yourself into gear, throw it down in the comments. What are you doing to stay motivated?
And we'll just say it's uninspired.
There you go.
One good find, one bulk find of 1988 football cards or one bulk find of something that's exciting to you, and all of a sudden you'd be inspired again.
Yes. And I got a lot of good stuff as I've been, going through things and organizing and stuff. It's like, man, I got a lot of great stuff in my death pile that would be profitable. I got a lot of bread and butter, but I've also got a lot of, really good profitable stuff. And you would think that seeing some of that stuff would get me motivated to do that.
I wish we had like another hour long of the show just to kind of beat on this topic, because I do think processes help avoid a lot of this. I mean, for example, if we brought stuff in and put it on a receiving bench and kind of a receiving area, and we had to clean it before we could put it on the death pile shelves, the listing shelves, and all we had to do was pull stuff off and take pictures and list it. And we knew it was already clean, fixed, tested, whatever. And we couldn't buy any more if the receiving shelf was full. Like if we had just some simple basic processes, I don't think you reach that level.
That's actually a good idea, and that's a good topic. And so we kind of touched on the unmotivation part. Why don't we? How about next week on the episode, Cory? We'll talk about this. Why don't we go into that a little bit more? Because I think this is a good topic that happens to a lot of people, and whether it's unmotivated, whether it's, what is a process that you do, and maybe, and I'll give a report next week on how I did this week. Cause like I say, right now I am jazzed up. I'm excited. I'm going to get back to work. Tomorrow I'm going to, I keep saying tomorrow. Today is Monday. Today is Sunday. We're recording on a Sunday. Tomorrow is Monday when this episode will come out. And by the time it gets out at 11 o'clock, I hope to be
busy,
have a number of things listed or photographed or tested or cleaned or something like that. And so we'll do a follow-up next week and
might
talk more about those processes. You might be unmotivated.
I might be unmotivated to do a follow-up.
Well, maybe
we're going to give it the college try, though. We're going to try.
I will be so excited. And see, this might be a push for me too, because you don't want to look like a failure in front of people, and I don't want to come back next week and go, I didn't really do anything, and I didn't follow through, and this is what I did. So that'll get me
reflecting back on how we ended because we work at the escape rooms Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but Wednesday and Thursday, reflecting back on when we actually stopped pulling stuff out of the storage unit and working on stuff. Is because of one particular item we found where it just kind of stopped the work and we never went back to work.
Okay.
So I'm not sure we're over that trauma yet. We may or may not go back into it right away Monday.
Okay. Well, save that. Let's talk about that. Maybe we can talk about that next week.
Yeah, we have one of those exciting items that didn't push us to work. It actually stopped all the progress.
Yes. So, see, that's exciting. I'm already excited about next week's episode.
Hit the subscribe and that bell. You don't want to miss next week.
See, always thinking. Yeah. So don't pay any attention to anything we said here. The next week's episode is going to be.
Yeah, this show was just the warm up for next week. That's why we're going to do the productive, good stuff.
All right, Cory. Anything else you got for this week? We're going to wrap this one up. We've been on here about an hour or so. What do you got to say for this week?
That's it. Check out planes2profit.com. Hope to see everybody there. Be here next week for a show we're going to try harder next week. I think that's what it boils down to. We are going to try harder.
This was a good show. I enjoyed this show and the conversation, but I'm excited about the prospects of my week, of being, back motivated. I'm excited about the, talking about maybe how that week went and some of those processes that one might implement. So
more excited to dig back into.
We will catch you next week on the Reseller Clickbait podcast.